Hey everybody, I'm so excited to bring in front of you all an interview with a professional life coach, Yolanda Gray, who has been my mentor for a very long time now. Before we get into that, let me tell you a little more about her. Her motto in life is that it's never too late to take back your life or the one you were created for. Yolanda is a faith based coach, speaker, and author for the Christian professional women who are ready to get on the path to abundant life. She is the co author of Gutsy Tales Off the Rails, an anthology based on a performance by nine storytellers, and also a co author of Propel, the essential handbook for emerging women in business and in leadership. She was born and raised in California and lives in the East Coast. She has four grown up children between her husband, John, and five grandchildren. I hope you enjoy this interview where we're talking about emotional well being and inner peace mostly today, and what we can really do in this situation of COVID that we're all in. Thank you for being with us today, Yolanda. And I'm so glad that you're here, and I'm really looking forward to hear from you. So let's get started.
Okay, well, thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here with you.
Sure. All right. So, in these times of global pandemic and crisis that we are all in, we are lost. We are at a loss of not just a medical brilliance that we want to fight COVID 19 with, or cultural and humanity threat with Black Lives Matter, but also a socio-economic imbalance where millions today have lost their jobs, they're unemployed. What are your thoughts on this current situation that we are in?
The times that we're in right now have brought so much fear and uncertainty to our country.
Mm-hmm.
And I know to the world, I keep it within the context of how we as Americans and people who have come here for opportunity, and because we live in a beautiful country, um, and we are people, for the most part, of love and opportunity. We've had so much opportunity and freedom, and now it seems that everything has been turned upside down, and mostly we're feeling uncertainty and a huge amount of fear. And anytime we're in fear, it brings about confusion and chaos, and um, we can't think straight, so we can't act straight.
Right.
And I believe that's what we're seeing right now,
Mm-hmm.
is that fear is being manifested, the uncertainty and the doubt is being manifested.
Right, right. I totally agree to this. I mean, I feel whatever you're saying right now because yes, we are all lost and this fear is getting manifested, right? That's so true. So, I really want to talk about emotional well-being and inner peace with you today. So, why do you think is it difficult for people to be happy and content these days in general? I mean, even apart from COVID, I've seen for the past couple of years people are not happy, content, satisfied with whatever they have, with whatever they are doing. And because of this situation, I feel it's just amplified this feeling. So, what are your thoughts on this? What do you think? Why is it so difficult for people?
I had three things that I really believe that
Mm-hmm.
contribute to feelings of discontent
Mm-hmm.
and unhappiness. And I think one of the biggest reasons is that because some of us have bought into the idea of the world's definition of what it means to be successful,
Right.
and all the books that have been written that if you're not doing this, then somehow you're less than. If you're not at this place, then why aren't you? And it
Right.
just feeds our lack of self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
But all of that is because we look to externals, our culture, our relationships, our possessions
Mm-hmm.
for happiness. And it works like this. When I get that, I'll be happy.
That's so
When
true.
I
Yes.
find, when this happens, I'll be happy. And then it doesn't happen. And
Yeah.
then so what happens behind that? Disappointment and discouragement.
Mm-hmm.
And we confuse happiness with joy.
That
And
is
they're two
true.
completely different things.
Mm-hmm. Right. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So, what do you think we can do to uplift our spirits and get out of all the negativity that we're surrounded with?
Well, let me go back to the second question you asked me.
Okay, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Because because looking to the externals for happiness is what causes that disappointment, discouragement, which so we're always chasing after
Right.
whatever it is we think it's going to make us happy.
Mm-hmm.
But we also haven't learned to live for today. And I'll tell you, this thing that happened that drove us into our homes and
Mm-hmm.
away from our social lives and our families even, and everything that it brought with it was was because we weren't living in the present. We
Right.
took a lot for granted, our
Mm-hmm.
freedom for one. But so they call it in personal development speak, it's living the question. Living the question means that you just stay in the moment.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then the third reason for not for looking to happiness outside of our external is that I believe, and I believe this with my whole heart, is that we lack purpose.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So while we were out there being busy,
Right.
while we were out there doing our life, maybe we lost sense of, what is my purpose?
Mm-hmm.
And you and I both work on our purpose every day. We
Right.
are searching for that meaning, for what God has given us to do in
Mm-hmm.
this world for mankind.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that when you get to that place, that you begin to sense that real joy of knowing you were created for something bigger than you.
Right. Right. So, I guess to uplift our spirits, you're saying that we need to start finding the purpose of our life. And if we don't know that already, at least start searching around, looking around for it, and have that sense of what is my purpose of life. Right.
Yeah, and it's not a straight path. We don't wake up one morning and go, boom, I
I
got
agree.
clarity,
Yes. Yes.
right? But
Right.
once we get on it, it's like all of a sudden you're in a flow and you're
Mm-hmm.
not whatever you do every day to get to it
Right.
is what you wake up in the morning for.
Right. Right.
All of that.
Mm-hmm.
But to your question of what can we do to uplift our spirits,
Mm-hmm.
um, very practically speaking, stop watching the news and that 24/7 cycle. I mean, I cannot do it. I feel my level of anxiety going up.
Right.
And if you are sensitive spirit that way,
Right.
you are going it will rise in you, and it's going to completely destroy any sense of peace. I say that the news is like a bad car wreck. You come up against you come up upon it and you can't look away.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so you're almost like going, okay, what did it say today? What's happening
That
today?
is so true, yes, because I talk to my parents almost every other day, and they're always up with so many questions about how am I doing, and if I went out, and what kind of precautions did I take, just because they're watching the news all the time. I get it.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And we would be the same way. I mean, I would be the same way if I was watching the news too. It scares me to death. But another thing you can do is to increase your spiritual practices.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm giving you some practical things to do here.
Right.
What do you do? Do you pray? Do you meditate? Um, when I get quiet with God, it shows. I begin to sense that he is bigger than anything that's going on in this world, and I
Right.
have no control over it. And so when you come to a place of acceptance that
Mm-hmm.
I don't have control over how anybody else acts or what anybody else says or does, but God is in control of it all. Then I can have a sense of relaxed spirit,
Mm-hmm.
a sense of well-being that no matter what's going on in the world, um, I can let go of my control of it.
Right.
I
Right.
think that's really important. And then the other thing for sure is there are a lot of women I talk to right now, they're not sleeping.
Okay.
They aren't sleeping. They're
Mm-hmm.
waking up in the middle of the night,
Right.
terrified.
Oh my God. Okay.
And so, uh, again, going back to the spiritual practices that you have,
Mm-hmm.
how you pray, how you meditate, and shutting down that news cycle and getting into your bed early enough to relax, do whatever it takes that to get you to that place of relaxation so you can rest
Right.
and rejuvenate. Because when we don't have our health, we will not survive anything. I mean, you already know they're saying that this virus attacks people who are compromised or
That
older
is
and
true.
all of that. And so
Mm-hmm.
it's even more important for someone like me to really maintain my optimal level of health. I
That is
have to.
true. Mm-hmm.
And the biggest one, I think, to develop that sense of well-being is to reach out to somebody. I made it a point while I was closed in and closed down to reach out to someone who God brought to mind, to just reach out and say, how are you? Do you need anything? Because
Right.
when you get out of yourself,
Mm-hmm.
your focus shifts to somebody else. How can I help this person? Can I just reach out and say hi? And
That is
a lot
true.
of times it's like, oh my gosh, you were on my mind too. And so, that
Right.
really helps a lot.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. Definitely. Right. So, what do you think our top three short term goals should be when it comes to emotional well being, and how can we achieve them? I think we've partly talked about it already. But still, what do you think? If
Well, it's all very personal to us. How we if we don't know how to take care of ourselves, definitely please reach out, get some help,
right,
don't do this alone. I think that's the biggest thing, is that this isolation has really increased. We've already heard the mental illness,
that's so
the
true.
sense of desperation and isolation and depression. We weren't meant to live alone. We were meant to be in community with others. So
Mm-hmm.
when you find out what works for you, it helps you to get out of this whole doom and gloom. I call it the doom and gloom of life. Like, oh my gosh, everything's going to get worse. And instead, you will get on a path, especially when you're with others, to real life joy.
Mm-hmm.
That joy is a spiritual connection between you and God, or your higher power. For me, it's God. And when I have that sense of connection, I have a peace in my mind. And so um, that would be the overarching goal. Get out of the chaos, confusion, get into your joy.
Right.
And one of the ways that I learned very early in recovery from alcoholism is to take this day only, one day at a time.
Right. That is so true. I think we forget it most of the times. Yes.
We do. We're
Yeah.
so, again, we're looking way down the future.
Right.
It's probably the most important lesson I've ever learned,
Mm-hmm.
is to take your day one day. Take this day one day at a time.
Right.
Wake up, ask God what you can do today to help yourself and others, and what do you need to do, and have a plan. And so that you're not just sort of bumbling around the day with no structure, because I think that also increases our anxiety and our depression. And then the second thing is to make time for your spiritual life. It's really important right now, especially. Again, I mentioned prayer, meditation, but walking without music, without words, without noise,
Right.
and just connecting. any kind of movement
Mm-hmm.
increases your serotonin levels in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
That's your feel happy hormone. So when you're moving, it biologically increases that
Right.
brain serotonin level, and we have to move. Sitting on the couch, I've seen all these posts out there about binge watching Netflix. I
Right.
think that would make you really depressed. So, but
Right.
and you know what? And sometimes that's what we have to do to get through that day, but we can't make that a habit. And then the third thing, probably journaling. Journaling every day with a gratitude list. Right,
Wow.
every day,
Right.
whatever you can think. Right, and creating a gratitude list. For a while, every day on my list was thank you God that I have a nice home and food
Right.
in which to be locked down in.
Right.
It because a lot of people do not.
That's
They
so
were
true.
in some really sad situations, and so every day I make a list of 3 or 4 things that I can be just grateful for, and that levels feel good too because it gives you a broader perspective than just what we see happening in our world.
Right. Right. Definitely. I mean, I have been trying couple of these things what you've spoken about right now. And I absolutely agree. The joy in taking a walk around, strolling without headphones on, definitely. Seeing the nature around you, people around you, in fact, what kind of natural sounds are out there. It's just
Yes.
amazing. Yes. Journaling, I don't do as much, but I'm going to take it from you here and start from now on. All right. So, one advice that you would like to give all of us, especially the new generation, which is stuck in this situation, and I don't know, I spoke about it. We are all lost at this point. So, that one piece of advice that you want to share with all of us.
Oh, interesting that you say the new generation, the younger generation. I have
Right.
5 grandchildren who are just entering the work
Uh huh.
world and who are still in school and they're looking long term to their college and it seems like everything is turned upside down. They're not going to school. They're not,
That is true.
they're not following their career
Mm-hmm.
path and it's still the same. It's still the same principles. We have to go back to what's inside of you. Where did um, your God or give you what did He drop into your spirit that you are supposed to be doing in this world?
Right.
And it's not. It's about humanity. It
Mm-hmm.
is. It is about humanity. It's not about I. I mean, it's nice to have nice things. I'm glad I have nice things, but I've chased all that in the past, and it did not bring me happiness. So really, if whatever your religion is, for me, it's God to seek that in the everyday life. To seek God in the everyday life, because when you do, you can begin to magnify His power. You're not focused on the problem;
Mm-hmm.
you're focused on solution, and we have to find solution for what we're living right now.
Right.
Finding the solution to living within our confines that we have right now. Because anytime you get to a situation like we're in, it is problematic. That's putting it mildly, but there's always the opportunity in the problem.
That is so true.
Someone said,
Mm-hmm.
someone said, this a man of God who I listened to in his podcast. He said that he believed this was going to be a time of renaissance.
Okay.
And when I look at your work, the
Mm-hmm.
work that you are embarking on, yes, it's a new thing.
Right.
And when we look back at history,
Mm-hmm.
the art that came out of the Renaissance period,
That is so
I
true.
believe Einstein came out of the Renaissance. Anytime there was this problem, we seek solution. That's our
Mm-hmm.
human nature.
Right.
And so we get on this path to solution. And I would say to the young people, you are the leaders of tomorrow.
Right.
If you in your spirit, and it is all about humanity, what are you going to do to make our world a better place here on earth?
So true.
That's
Mm-hmm.
right.
Yes.
Whether it's art, whether it's poetry, whether it's writing, whether it's speaking, whether it's teaching. I mean, teaching is huge right now. Just to seek God for your sense of purpose and get on that path to it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. I totally agree. All right. Thank you so much, Yolanda, for giving us time today and discussing all these things about emotional well being, about inner peace, path to spirituality. I'm definitely taking back a gratitude journal from here and I'm going to write in it every single day because we do need these renewed perspectives to life.
Yes.
And I'm definitely feeling much more positive about where I am today and what I seek in my future. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what else comes out from you in the work that you're doing. Our world needs it right now.
Thank you. Thank you. If you like this video and you want to know more about Yolanda Gray, do read the description below. I've put all her details in there. In your comments below, let me know what you thought about it. What are the things that you are taking back from this video to change in your life and do them? See you all next week.